Hello, and welcome to a short tutorial from Western Principles, which will help you learn how to status your schedule so that you can do better project management using Microsoft Project for the web. This will help you be more successful with project deliveries and outcomes. This is part 4 of this course and covers updating progress in Microsoft Project for the web. In this training, we're going to cover the how-to of progressing the status of your schedule. This will include a simple project percent complete and a more complex update of work effort and duration. We'll also look at using filters to easily track down work status and tasks belonging to individuals. To get the most benefit from this course, get ready to open up Microsoft Project for the web and follow along. Pause this video frequently to give yourself time to create a schedule in Microsoft Project for the web. Why should you update your schedule with progress? Tempting as it is to answer with a sassy duh, let's look at some real reasons. There are two types of updates to your schedule. The first is progress or status. This is all about tracking how much of each scheduled task has been completed. The second are general updates to your schedule, including adding and removing tasks, changing durations, modifying dependencies, and managing resource assignments. In this tutorial, we'll be talking about updating progress. Updates to tasks and assignments are covered by our second tutorial in this series, which described how to create a schedule. By keeping your project updated with progress, you can build a good picture of what has happened on the project so far. You can also look ahead and look at what will happen in the coming week, month, or more, and who will do it. This information helps you drive communication, collaboration, and visibility on your project. And, as we mentioned in the introductory tutorial, these benefits directly drive project success. In the timeline view, the current date on your schedule is indicated by a red vertical line. If you hover over the dot on the top of the line, Microsoft Project for the web will display the current date. If you hover your mouse over the taskbar for any task, Microsoft Project for the web will show you the date range for the task at the top of the Gantt chart. You might notice the start date and the end dates are shown in reverse colors. These dates are important for understanding your progress relative to the plan. Percent complete is the easiest progress update in Microsoft Project for the web. In the simplest way, you can quickly update tasks with the click of a mouse to show that it is completed. In this way, tasks are either not started, which is shown by an empty circle next to the taskbar on the left side of your grid, and by a light blue bar in the timeline view, or 100% complete, which is shown by a green circle with a check mark on the grid, a dark blue bar in the timeline view, and also it's accompanied by a happy bing sound when you mark a task as complete. You can also go into the task information and update partial completion, where you simply enter a percent complete. When you do this, Microsoft Project for the web leaves the progress circle white, but updates the timeline bar with dark blue representing the relative percent complete. We'll look at that update in the next step. Let's look at the simple updates. Here we are back inside Microsoft Project for the web. We're looking at our Paint Office project. You can see here that the project has been started. I've got a little green circle with a white check mark, Start Project is crossed out, and my milestone is shaded in dark blue. If we look further down our schedule, we can see that Choose Colors has also been completed. Again, a green circle with a check mark, Choose Colors is crossed out, and the bar over here in the timeline view is showing in dark blue. Let's look at how we set that status. Let's look at Choose Wallpaper here, and this work has been done now. All I need to do is hover over the circle and click on this. Project for the web gives me a helpful little bing, crosses out Choose Wallpaper, and puts the icon in here. Similarly, if I look at Buy Paint and Supplies, and we're going to go over to the grid view for this now. There's our Buy Paint and Supplies task. There's our little icon. If I click on this, I get my bing, and it gets marked as Buy Paint and Supplies is complete. Easy. You can pause the video here and try that in Project for the web. Click play again when you're ready to move on to the next step. Progress can be updated manually to show partial completion. You can do this using the Information Dialog pop-up box. To get to the Information Dialog for any task, you can hover over the task and then you'll see the eye in the circle, as well as the More Options ellipsis. Click on the eye to bring up the Information Dialog. In the percent complete field in this dialog, you can update the percent complete. When you update the percent complete, you'll notice that Project for the web does an update of the effort with some simple math applied to the completed and remaining effort based on the percent of the overall work effort. Back on the timeline view, you'd see that our bar is shaded at 15% complete now. If we update the effort completed, that will update the percent complete and remaining effort. We'll talk about changing the remaining and total effort in a moment. For now, don't touch those. Let's have a look at that in Microsoft Project for the Web. Here we are back on our Microsoft Project for the Web schedule. We're in the grid view, and we're going to use the information pop-up to progress this activity. You'll notice we've got 0.2 days duration on this one. So let's click on the information pop-up, and there it is. You can see we've got 1.6 hours of work on this. We're going to set this as 20% complete. And when we do this and hit enter, you'll see the completed, remaining, and total update. Just like that. Easy, right? We can do the same thing over in the timeline view. When we get over to the timeline view, you see we've got a little bit of progress showing in this shut off electrical and remove outlets. Let's go to the information pop-up here again. There's our information pop-up, and we're going to change the percent complete to 40. When we hit enter, you'll see the completed, remaining, and total update again. That's all there is to it. Microsoft Project for the Web calculates work effort as the number of resources multiplied by duration. So for example, if you have one person on a 3-day task, you have one person times 3 days times 8 hours per day, which is 24 hours. Similarly, if I increase the assignment to 2 people on this task, now I have 2 people on a 3-day task, and we have 2 people times 3 days times 8 hours per day, which is 48 hours. Pretty easy and straightforward, right? Next thing you can do with effort is you can actually change the remaining and total effort. So if we reduce the default calculation from 48 hours of remaining effort across 3 days to 24 hours, what we're doing is reducing the assignment for each resource on this task. That takes us to 50% capacity or assignment for each resource. Microsoft Project for the Web doesn't have a detailed resource sheet like Microsoft Project Online does, but that's what happens behind the scenes. You'd see that outcome in the Power BI reports, which we'll talk about more in a later tutorial. Similarly, if you change the total hours, you'll impact the remaining hours and the assignments. In both cases, we're changing the remaining and total duration. We don't impact the percent complete. This can become a little strange. For example, if we change the percent complete to 25%, then Microsoft Project for the Web updates the completed and remaining effort to still add up to 12. That's good. But update the total hours to 92, for example. The duration stays at 3. The percent complete stays at 25. The remaining goes to 89. The math gets weird now because the duration and the percent complete don't change. But that's just an undocumented feature of how the system works. If you play around with the numbers a bit, you'll see things move around. You should get comfortable with changing duration, percent complete, and the remaining effort so that you know the behavior of each. Let's have a look at that in Microsoft Project for the Web. Alright, let's mark shut off electrical as complete. We're just going to use the simple method to do that. Showing a dark bar here now, that means the whole thing's complete. Now we're going to look at the wash walls activity here. So we'll bring up the information dialog. And we've got 3 people scheduled on this for 24 hours of work. What happens if we take one of these people off? Now we've got 2 people scheduled for 16 hours of work. What if we say instead of remaining hours here, we've got 24 hours remaining? We still have 1 day of work, but we have 24 hours of work to be done in that time period. If I update the completed to 2 hours, we've got completed 2 hours, remaining 22, and the total remains at 24. You can pause the video here and try that in Project for the Web. Click play again when you're ready to move on to the next step. Co-authoring means that 2 or more people can be in your schedule at the same time. When they're in there, the team can be working together to build the schedule, for example. That might be a good thing. The theory goes that the best schedule is one that's put together by the team. It improves buy-in and ownership and ultimately drives project delivery performance. The team can also be in there to update the schedule. This might be good to let the team take ownership of updating progress and the schedule so that the project manager doesn't have to chase people down for updates, at least hopefully most of the time. However, co-authoring also lets anyone on the team do updates to the schedule. This includes changing duration and work like we've just looked at in the prior section, and also adding, updating, and deleting tasks, relationships, and the WBS structure. Since Microsoft Project for the Web doesn't have any permission sets which allow you to prevent updates that you may not want, you need to be aware that a team member could accidentally mess up your carefully crafted schedule. Let's have a look at that in Microsoft Project for the Web. Let's do some co-authoring. Here we have two separate users logged in two separate browsers. On the left side we've got Dave Jones logged in, and on the right side we have Laura Smet logged in. They're co-authoring on this same project right now, Paint Office. So they're online in two separate sessions and they're able to independently update this schedule. Let's see that happen. So over here, Dave is going to add an activity. When he does that, you'll notice over in Laura's schedule, this activity is suddenly showing up. Let's add some duration to it so that you can actually see it. There's the activity, and there's the activity over here in Laura's schedule as well. Similarly, if we add resources to the activity, the resource shows up almost simultaneously over on Laura's schedule. Laura can come into the schedule separately and she can start doing updates. So let's have her update this activity. She's going to say this one is 10% complete. As she does that, we see the activity progress show up on Dave's schedule and of course also over here on Laura's schedule. Now Laura could come in here and say, you know, I think we actually don't need to wash the walls. So she can come in here and delete this task. And when she does that, the task is also deleted over here on Dave's copy of the schedule. Co-authoring has pluses and minuses. It allows the team to work together and collaborate on creating the schedule, and that's a good thing. It does allow the team to come in and do progress updates. That's also a good thing. However, there is some risk that you need to be aware of, that project members can come in and change the schedule and dramatically impact the outcome. You can pause the video here and try that in Project for the Web. Click play again when you're ready to move on to the next step. Microsoft Project for the Web has several predefined filters that will help you quickly find work that needs attention. Let's start with the finish date filter. On here, you might use the late filter to help you find tasks that are running behind so that you can concentrate on getting those completed and avoiding slippage. You might also look for tasks that are scheduled this week so that you can discuss those in your weekly team meeting or a weekly status report. Progress filters help you find work in a given state. This is a good time to let you know that you can combine filters. Usually as a project manager, you're looking for incomplete work, so that you might want to filter for both work that it isn't started and is in progress. Finally, you may need to find all the work that's assigned to some people on your team. Maybe you have someone who's overallocated or is being moved off a project. This would be a good time to use the Assign To filter and select the people who you want to filter for. Let's give this a try. Here we are back inside our project in Project for the Web, and we're in the grid view. Over here on the right hand side, you see the filters drop down. Click on that and it'll open the filters. In here we can start our filter simply by looking at these items on Finish Date, on Progress, and on Assign To. Let's look at things that are due this week. That means they have a finish date in the week. There are activities. Some are done, some are coming up. We can clear the filters by clicking Clear All. Let's look at things that are not started and are in progress. So we've combined these filters now to look at these two things at the same time. And there's our list of activities that are not started or are in progress. Let's close this pane. When we do that, we see that our filters are still applied. We'll go from here over to our timeline view. Here in our timeline view, our filters are still applied. Let's open this up. Let's clear those filters now, and we're going to look for tasks that are assigned to Dave. Now we can see all of the tasks that are assigned to Dave or that Dave is a part of. Let's clear that. The other thing we can do in our timeline view is to look at our critical path. When we hit this filter, what Project for the Web does is it highlights the activities that are on the critical path. What does the critical path mean? The critical path is the longest path through your project. So these are the most important tasks the project is highlighted here that need to get done. in order to finish on time. You can pause the video here and try that in Project for the Web. Click play again when you're ready to move on to the next step. Once you've updated the status of each of the tasks in your schedule, you need to keep your schedule updated and accurate to the current date by updating the incomplete work to the current date. Going back to the rationale for updating the schedule, this makes it easy to see what has been done, what needs to be done, and who will do it, which all contribute to project success. By keeping your current work updated, you'll be able to get a good estimate of your project completion date. This means that you have to update the schedule so that the first incomplete critical activity is showing on your critical path after the current date. If your schedule is linked together properly with relationships, all other critical tasks should be automatically pushed out. Similarly, you need to update all late incomplete tasks to start on the current date or later. Be careful pushing around non-critical tasks, as sometimes in pushing them around, they can become critical. In Microsoft Project for the Web, the easy way to reschedule tasks is to look at the timeline view. Remember that the current date is shown by the vertical red line. On the timeline view, you can filter for and see the critical path. The critical path does not consider tasks that are in the past as critical, so you need to follow the path backwards and find the first critical and incomplete task. If the task has started, drag out the duration to the red current date line. If the task hasn't started, then move the task up to that line. If your schedule is well built, all dependent tasks will push out automatically. You may find that you do have some tasks that you need to pull up manually to the current date line. As a side note, in Microsoft Project Online, you can simply use the reschedule command to update all your incomplete work to the current status date. Maybe at some point in time, Microsoft Project for the Web will also have this automated capability. Let's see how you do schedule updates in Project for the Web. Here we are back in Project for the Web, and we're looking at our Paint Office project. We can see that the project has started, and if we look at the details, the project started on November 2nd, and the milestone for this is obviously 100% complete. If we come down a little bit further here, we see the complete painting milestone. This is set currently for November 26th. Coming down a little bit further, we can see the Choose Color task, and the Choose Color task has actually started. It started on November 3rd, and we're 50% complete. Now what we need to do is update our schedule, because if we look at our current date with this red line, and we go up and we hover over the little bead, we can see our current date is November 9th. So all incomplete work needs to start after November 9th. Let's turn on a filter, and what we're going to do is show the critical path. When we show the critical path, Project for the Web highlights the critical path in our schedule. So you can see that we would start at paint room number 1 here. But what is missing in this critical path is work that is incomplete behind the status date. If we follow the path of the critical path back up here, we can find that our critical path is actually this Choose Color activity. So what we need to do is move the incomplete work for this past this red line. We have a couple of choices here. We could grab the whole task and move it, but that's not going to achieve what we really want to show here. What we really want to show is the work that's incomplete, completing after this line. And we don't want to mislead by saying the completed work started later after this line. So what we're going to do here is hover over this task until we get the double-headed arrow. We'll click and pull. And as we pull, we drag this task in duration out beyond the November 9th date. And then we release. And now what's happened is the incomplete work is starting after November 9th. And this critical path is showing up now, and all of the work that's on that critical path and everything that's connected in between gets pushed out to the right, meaning it's later. Now we can see that we still have a task left behind here. This is all linked in like it's supposed to be, so mechanically inside the schedule it's well built. However, it's not on the critical path, so it hasn't been pushed forward. With this task, it's 0% complete, and what we want to do is instead of stretching it out, we want to move it. So what we do is hover over the task until we get the little finger, click and drag it across the November 9th date, and then release it. You can see in doing this, it's actually entered the critical path. If I were to pull it out further, it would become the critical path. Let's back it up and undo with Ctrl-Z. Now that everything is moved, we can take a look at our new completion date for the project. And if I hover over top of this milestone, the complete painting is now at November 30th. So just reviewing what we've done here, we started by moving the critical path tasks out. Then we moved out the tasks that weren't on the critical path, and now we can get a forecast of our new project date. You can pause the video here and try that in Project for the Web. Click play again when you're ready to move on to the next step. Thanks for watching this video, and congratulations! You've finished the Status Your Schedule tutorial. Please join us for other detailed tutorials about using Microsoft Project for the Web to drive successful project outcomes.